What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into episode number 860 of Underground Sports Philadelphia, presented by the city of Vineland. It's your boy KB coming at you solo dolo for part of this show because it's a Waterdogs Weekly edition of the pod, and later on we'll be joined by the 2025 first overall pick in the PLL draft and the frontrunner by many for the PLL MVP at the midway point this year. That is your Philadelphia Waterdogs Attackman, CJ Kirst, the pride of New Jersey, baby. CJ joins us later on the show. An awesome conversation and a lot of just fun insight from CJ, who is literally, in my opinion, the face of Nike lacrosse now. And he's tearing it up in year 2 of his PLL career. So stick around for Waterdogs Weekly right here on Underground Sports Philadelphia. We've got a loaded episode, okay? This episode is so massive, I was planning to fully, release this like a typical Thursday morning, but I needed to rest and collect my thoughts because not only do we have CJ Kirst joining us on the show and on our airwaves for the first time, the Phillies keep winning. We're going to talk about that. The Philadelphia 76ers, with the biggest bombshell of the offseason so far, trade Paul George to the Boston Celtics in exchange for Jaylen Brown. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about us kicking it back like it's 2018 and potentially being on LeBron Watch. Yeah, LeBron James and the Sixers' interest in LeBron James. Oh, and the Philadelphia Flyers, they're in the midst of free agency, re-signed Dan Vladar officially, and now there's rumors that Claude Giroux may be coming back for a reunion. Plus, Team USA advances to the round of 16 in the World Cup, but they'll be playing in that next match without arguably their best player. We'll talk all about that right here on the program, but before we get into everything, make sure you guys are following us on the socials at Underground PHI across the board. We're on every social platform. It really helps the show continue to grow, helps us reach new audiences, and allows us to do more dope stuff with and for all of you. So please keep following us. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're on every social platform. Please drop us a follow and interact with the content. Subscribe to the pod, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast in audio form. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. It goes a long way for helping this show continue to grow. It helps more people find Underground Sports Philadelphia and our entire catalog of podcasts here at Underground Industries. So please subscribe and leave those 5-star reviews. And of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. That is where you get full video episodes of this show twice a week. This is where you get video versions of Waterdogs Weekly every week during the 2026 PLL season, plus any original video content and all of our original programming here at Underground Sports Philadelphia, Underground Industries, from Outside the Box, Underground Circuit, Streamer Season. In the collabs tab, you get the house show with Patty Pitts, and so much more. So please subscribe on YouTube. We're 10 subscribers away. We did not hit that threshold by the end of June, so now we've got to do it in a quicker fashion, ladies and gentlemen. I'm tired of seeing 1,200. I want to see 1,300. I want to see 1,400, 500, 600. I want to get to that next 1,000 subscriber milestone. So please subscribe, leave a like on the video, drop a comment in the comment section, and smash that bell icon. That way you don't miss a single video from us. And this show is proudly presented by the city of Vineland. And listen up, everybody. This is going to be a blast. Looking forward to this one. Get ready, Vineland. The Recreation Summer Concert Series is back at the Enrico Serra Band Shell at GM Petro Park with free shows beginning at 7 p.m. Bring the family and enjoy 3 unforgettable nights of live music. It all gets started on Saturday, July 18th with Yacht Rock Gold Experience. Saturday, August 22nd brings you Kevin Kenny, The Chesney Show. And on Saturday, September 19th, it all concludes with Van Halen Nation. From smooth yacht rock to country favorites and classic Van Halen hits, there's something for everyone. That's the Vineland Recreation Summer Concert Series, free at GM Petro Park. Bring your lawn chair, bring your friends, and enjoy the music. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season. And big thank you to Security 21 Security Systems and Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated for their continued support of this podcast.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mayor Anthony Finucci, and I'm excited to invite you to the 9th Annual Violent Food Truck Festival on Sunday, September 13th, starting at 11 a.m. Enjoy an incredible lineup of food trucks, live music throughout the day, local crafters, and the amazing community spirit that makes Vineland so special. Bring your family, bring your friends, and come hungry for a fun-filled day of great food and great memories. We can't wait to see you at the Violent Food Truck Festival 2026.
Let's dive into it, y'all. We'll start with the big news. Jaylen Brown is a Philadelphia 76er. You know, typically we lead these shows off in the summertime talking about, the Phils and their continued successes, but the fact that Jaylen Brown is a Philadelphia 76er is something that feels like a Mad Lib that I would have never thought I'd utter in my entire existence. Jaylen Brown traded from the Boston Celtics to the Philadelphia 76ers early evening yesterday. we're having a belated Father's Day dinner with the OG. Matt and Sarah are here, and Jaylen Brown, notification pops across the phone. Matt breaks the news to me like he Shams himself. But this trade is insane on so many levels, because not only are the Sixers bringing in a 29-year-old all-NBA MVP candidate, Finals MVP, in the prime of his career. He's 29 years old. They get off the Paul George contract. They trade 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks. Those first-round picks, it's a complex, thing where the 2028 first-round pick could convert from a first to a more favorable swap for Boston, where I believe if it falls 1 through 8, the pick just goes to the Celtics, but then there's the pick swap element of it if it falls between 9 and 30. I saw multiple tweets about that yesterday. It's a complex portion of the trade with that 2028 first-round pick. They send a 2028 second-rounder, which will be the most favorable of Golden State, Oklahoma City, and Milwaukee. A 2030 second-rounder, which is most favorable of Washington, Portland, and Phoenix. And a 2031 unprotected first-round pick. I want to make this abundantly clear, okay? Because in our lifetimes of this era of Sixers basketball, starting with the process all the way up to now, how many draft picks have worked out for the Sixers? You go down the list. Michael Carter-Williams, Joel Embiid, that's a hit. Jahlil Okafor, Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz, you get Tyrese Maxey by the good graces of Mike Muscala. You get VJ Edgecombe because Ace Bailey's agent was an absolute dunce. And thank goodness for that. And I'm very excited for LeBaron Filan Jr. So that's Joel. That's Tyrese Maxey. That's VJ Edgecombe. And then obviously, jury's still out on LeBaron. He hasn't stepped foot on an NBA court yet. A lot of these draft picks don't see their full potential until they leave Philadelphia. Isaiah Joe, Landry Shamet. You know, the list goes on and on. I am fully, especially in this era of the NBA where things are so ebb and flow and so highly volatile or just nothing at all, I'm okay trading draft picks when you have the roster makeup that the Sixers have right now. When you have a Tyrese Maxey, one of the best players in the league in my opinion, VJ Edgecombe, a rising superstar, you're adding LeBron Filan Jr. to that core. And let's not forget one of the draft picks that should still be here is Jared McCain. You have Joel Embiid. And now you're adding a 29-year-old all-NBA MVP caliber player in Jaylen Brown. ESPN graded this deal for the Sixers an A- and for the Celtics a D+. The Sixers added Dean Wade in free agency as well, who I think is going to be a very, very solid player for them. But when this deal presents itself, when there were other rumored mock deals before this trade went down involving Jaylen Brown and the Celtics moving on and everything, they were far more favorable. And the report from multiple outlets, and Shams put it out there too, like, the Celtics initially asked for VJ Edgecombe and 5 first-round picks, along with Paul George, to make the money match. And the fact that Mike Gansey comes in and this is his true first impression move as the president of basketball operations for the Philadelphia 76ers, to go and get, you know, as much as we've hated playing against Jaylen Brown and as much as he has torched the Sixers in the past, and that has like soured our opinions of him just on the court because you hate the guy playing for Boston. That's a Philly-Boston thing. Now that he's on our side, it's an insane thing. Like, I still can't believe it's true. And the fact that you got him for Paul George, who I have no ill will towards. He was an integral part of the 3-1 comeback against the Celtics just a couple of months ago. But Paul George is at the tail end of his career. And you traded 2 second-round picks, which in the NBA, it's the biggest crapshoot in the world. And you traded 2 first-round picks that, at the end of the day, sure, they're going to end up with the Celtics, and we'll look when those picks are made like what they end up being. But if this move nets the Sixers a chance to really go for a championship with the core of Maxey, Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, Joel Embiid, LeBron Filan Jr., and now you build out the rest of the roster around these guys, who in the East is competing with that? The Celtics just got rid of arguably their best player. I know Jason Tatum is still there, but I think Jaylen Brown's a better player. I don't know what to make of their roster, and quite frankly, I don't care because I can't stand the Celtics. The Knicks have been losing pieces left and right here in free agency. Sure, they still have the Nova core and everything, but are they going to be able to replicate anything they did this past season? Remains to be seen. The Bucks traded Giannis to Miami. Miami has no shooting whatsoever. They lost Norm Powell to the Bulls. The Nets are irrelevant. The Raptors traded for Kawhi. We'll see how that turns out. The Pacers, I think, are putting together a nice team for the Tyrese Halliburton return. They signed Kelly Oubre away from the Sixers, which sucks, but them's be the breaks. This is a unit of a Sixers team. Like, the Sixers entered this offseason, ESPN said this too, with the profile of a fringe playoff team at best. Now they truly can be a contender for the finals. It's one of the craziest trades I can remember in sports. Like, we've had some crazy sports trades just this year. But the fact that the Celtics willingly traded arguably their best player to a rival, a full-fledged rival in the Philadelphia 76ers, who just beat them in a 7-game series and came back from being down 3-1 just a couple of months ago. And you took Paul George as the player piece, and we're okay with that. This is a masterclass move and an insanely, good well-being point of note for Mike Gansey in his first year as president of basketball operations for the Sixers. You got one of the best scorers in the NBA right now, in his prime, to pair with Tyrese Maxey, one of the best scorers in the NBA right now, to pair with VJ Edgecombe. I think this is only going to make VJ better, in my opinion. You're going to have him in here with LeBaron Filan Jr. as a rookie. You're pairing Jaylen Brown with Joel Embiid, which, that's going to be a fun storyline when they finally get together, and the whole, post-series, Twitch stream that Jaylen Brown did. And I'm not absolved from shit talk. I called Jaylen Brown a loser. And that was more so the on-the-court stuff. I think Jaylen Brown is a very smart guy. I am very, intrigued by the person he is. And he's wildly intelligent. I just hated his play on the court. Mostly because he played for the Celtics. And then he went and whined on that Twitch stream. But guess what? He's on the team that I root for. And it's going to make the team that I root for better. And it's weird in any sport when you acquire a player, especially of this caliber, from a rival that you have rooted against his entire career. I'm trying to think of a comparison, it was tail end career, but it was weird at first, rooting for Jaromir Jagr, after he played with the Penguins and played with so many different teams that the Flyers hate. You look at guys like, I'm trying to think, Bryce Harper. We hated Bryce Harper when he was with the Nationals. And then when he chose to come to Philadelphia, granted it's not a trade, but he chose to come to Philadelphia in free agency, we've embraced Bryce like no other, with a few exceptions of the smooth-brained morons out there. But, it's one of those things where you kind of just have to, unlearn the fandom hatred you had for a guy because he played and competed against your favorite team and torched your favorite team for so long. And now he's on your side. And it's cool. This is peak NBA offseason. This is something that I never thought, and I saw our good friend of the program, Erin Grugan, put this out in her article for Liberty Ballers, for her tweet caption, I never thought the Sixers would surprise me ever again or get me this excited ever again. It was last year was kind of just the make it take it year. You see what happens and you go. You get a series win in unbelievable fashion over the Boston Celtics, and it's just holy shit, this rocks. And then you obviously get swept by the inevitable NBA champions, but I never thought this was in the bag for the Sixers, and Mike Gansey has made one hell of a first impression from a basketball standpoint. Obviously, not a great impression blowing Jesus Luzardo's no-hitter. If you know, you know. But I genuinely woke up this morning and I said I couldn't believe that this was real. I could not believe that this trade happened. This was a moment where I tweeted this out. Like, I love recording this show every single week, twice a week. I love it. I love talking sports with you guys. I love talking our favorite teams. I love talking everything that goes on in the city of brotherly love. But I was like, this has a chance to be an all-time episode where we're talking about Jaylen Brown to the Sixers. We're talking about LeBron Watch, which we'll get to in a moment. We're talking about Claude Giroux again, potentially putting on a Flyers sweater. We're talking about the Phillies continuing their winning ways. We have CJ Kirst, who's arguably the best lacrosse player on the planet, on the show. And we're talking about Team USA advancing to the round of 16 for the first time in years. Years. And by years, I mean decade. Decade plus. I was like, this has an all-time episode incoming. But Jaylen Brown coming to the Sixers, looking at his stats just from last season alone, where he averaged 28.7 points per game, 6.9 rebounds, 5.1 assists. His field goal percentage was 47.7. His three-point percentage was 34.7. Like, to have a guy, and that was in 71 games. To have a guy like that, where for his career, he was matching career numbers. And he was putting up more assists than his career average, more rebounds than his career average, far more points than his career average. It is wild to me. He's also an October baby. We're born around the same time. I mean, he's got a great nickname, too, according to Basketball Reference. The Gravedigger. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 5-time All-Star. It's crazy he's been in the league since 2016. And this not that it rights the ship, but like it almost like corrects some of the draft history between the Sixers and Celtics, where, you know, we drafted Ben Simmons that year and now we get Jaylen Brown, who, you know, you look back at that draft, 2016 NBA draft. You look at every player taken in that draft. Ben Simmons, Brandon Ingram, who Brandon Ingram has made a great career for himself. Like, credit to him. You know, he was just traded in the Kawhi trade, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, he's made a great career for himself. Then it was Jaylen Brown third. And then Dragan Bender, who, what a pick. Chris Dunn, what a pick. Buddy Hield. Jamal Murray, who's made a great career for himself, NBA champion. Marquise Chris. Jacob Poeltl. Thon Maker. Domantas Sabonis, great pick there. Taurean Prince. Georgios Papagiannis. Denzel Valentine. Juancho Hernan Gomez. Yabusele. Wade Baldwin, Henry Ellison, Malik Beasley, Karis LeVert, DeAndre Bembry, St. Joe's very own, Malachi Richardson, Ante Zizic, TLC, Bryce Johnson, Furkan Korkmaz, Pascal Siakam, Skal Labissiere, Dejounte Murray, Damian Jones. That was your first round. Zubac in the second round, Tyler Ullis in the second round, Malcolm Brogdon, Patrick McCaw, Anybody else of note in this second round? It has turned out to be a very limited draft, if you will. So the fact that the Sixers now have who is arguably the best player from the 2016 draft on their team, and he's in the prime of his career. Mike Gansey masterclass right here. And, we'll see how it all plays out on the court and everything. But on top of that, Jaylen Brown signed for an additional season over Paul George. I know he's eligible for that extension after it expires, but this is a move where not only are you getting an elite caliber player added to this roster, this opens the window of opportunity to win a championship for the next at least 3 years with this current core together of Embiid, Maxey, VJ, Jaylen Brown, LeBaron Filan Jr. into that mix. Dean Wade will be here for that window, potentially. This is a move that I have not been this enthralled and intrigued and stoked about a Sixers offseason in I don't know how long. It's crazy. And on top of that, LeBron Watch 2.0 is on. Okay, LeBron James is a free agent. He's not returning to the Lakers. He's allegedly come out and said that he's willing to take a veteran minimum or a minimal contract because he wants to, afford the team that he goes to the opportunity to bring in other players. And then reports late last night, being Wednesday night, drop and say that the Sixers are showing interest in LeBron James. I'm not going to get my hopes up for it because we've been burned by this before back in 2018 when we first started this podcast. We sat on the very floor right across here from my setup waiting, and we get the news that LeBron's team is taking a meeting with the Sixers front office, and then it's all just to tell them, hey, he's not coming to Philadelphia and he's signing with the Lakers. Hey, LeBron. You got Embiid, a guy that you have always banged the drum for. You got Tyrese Maxey, a guy you have famously just been openly positive about. You got a young guy in VJ Edgecombe. You got a young LeBaron Filan Jr., and now you got Jaylen Brown. Let's also not forget Mike Gansey has known LeBron James since he was in high school. And Mike Gansey's brother tweeted a photo of all the Mr. Basketballs for Ohio where Mike Gansey is in the photo next to LeBron James. The Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs famously invited us to Lehigh Wants LeBron night back in 2018. I say we got to run it back, Kurt Landis. Let's do a pod at Coca-Cola Park. Let's make it happen. Lehigh Wants LeBron 2.0. Damn near 10 years, 8 years later, almost 10 years later. It's crazy it's been that long. Holy cow. But LeBron James on this team, I mean, you want to talk about excitement about the 76ers? You want to talk about people caring about the 76ers again? For not that people don't care, because since the process era, the 76ers have drawn in a lot of fans. But you want to talk about people caring to another level. You want to talk about bringing in a global superstar. You want to talk about changing the makeup of Philadelphia as a whole for it being a basketball city. Adding LeBron to this lineup would be insane, and I would love to see it. I would love to see it. I would love to have to watch DJ, my co-host of the Outside the Box podcast, openly root for the 76ers because he is a diehard LeBron James fan first. If the Sixers find a way to get LeBron James on this roster, it will be pure, unadulterated chaos. And I would love it. Now, here's a key wrinkle here that I find interesting as well to have it being reported. Jason Dumas, who does a great job covering all of our teams at 6ABC here in Philadelphia, tweeted early Thursday morning, source, LeBron James would have no issues teaming with Jaylen Brown despite Jaylen Brown's comments on Bronny. I know both have somewhat cleared the air publicly, but I was told directly it's not a focus. LeBron has, quote, moved on. Obviously, this is relevant with the Sixers' pursuit of LBJ. I mean, and Jason also tweeted, educated guess, LeBron ends up in San Francisco or Miami, San Francisco being the Golden State Warriors. Cleveland will always have his heart, but don't see him wanting to play with James Harden, to be honest. Philly on paper gives him everything from a winning standpoint, but I don't see him doing a Philly winter at all. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I think that if there's a chance, you gotta go for it. It is incredible. This whole process is just unbelievable. I genuinely am stunned that this move happened, and it all leads to just like the perfect moment right here to lob up for your boy. A tip of the cap to Mike Gansey. A tip of the cap, man. Ironic that it's a Phillies hat, but a tip of the cap to Mike Gansey. And as you all know, our tip of the cap is brought to you by our friends over at 47. Guys, 47 is apparel and lifestyle brand made for sports fans by sports fans. This is the hitch-style trucker hat. With the weather outside right now, you need that breathing ability in your headwear. And 47's got you covered from the hitch-style trucker hats. They've got the hitch-style rope hats, the diamond hitch cut. They've got the cleanup style, which is like your dad hat, if you will, that I also really, really love, especially when I get my hair cut and my hair's flowing nicely. Got the sides cleaned up. Fits like a glove. And 47's got the best apparel in the game as well. Represent your favorite sports team, whether it is the Philadelphia 76ers, the Phillies, the Flyers, the Union, the Eagles, your favorite NASCAR driver, your favorite college team, and so much more. They've got you covered. Join the 47 family as well. That is their rewards program. It's free to sign up, and every purchase you make, you earn points on those purchases, which then go onto your account, and you rack up points. It goes towards discounts, which could end up being free gear. And if it's free, it's for me, and I hope it's for you too. So use our link in the description to shop with 47. That way they know you're coming from us. Join the 47 family, and you'll get free shipping on all orders when you do so. And we thank 47 for being a proud partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia and the unofficial official headwear partner of Underground Industries. From the NBA, we will go to the Fightin' Phils, who continue to piece together their winning ways. The Phillies have taken the first two games from the Pittsburgh Pirates in this final four-game set at home before the All-Star break. Obviously, the first game should have been a win. They were up 5-0, and they end up losing 11-7. Not great pitching from Aaron Nola. 7 earned runs, 2 walks. That has been the Achilles heel for Aaron Nola this year. It's in the starts when he walks guys. It always comes back to bite him. Only goes 4 1/3, 5 strikeouts. They got to figure some things out for sure with Nola, which the way that he's been pitching this year, on top of the Andrew Painter of it all, you have to make sure. Like I genuinely think getting the starting rotation piece at the trade deadline now is even more imperative than the right-handed power bat. I think obviously you need both, but I think they are equally as important at this stage as we are inching closer and closer to the trade deadline, inching closer and closer to the All-Star break when Dave Dombrowski's going to be working those phones. You've got to bring in a starter. And it's making it more and more like imperative to me that like you got to go and make a move for someone like a Joe Ryan. I know the Twins are only 4.5 games out in a terrible American League Central, but the Twins also have to look themselves in the face and be like, are we going to compete? Like, is it worth it to do this, or do we go and get more prospects to continue this rebuild and really build up this system to be the Minnesota Twins again, you know, and be a perennial contender in the American League? Wild card wise, like they're right on the outside looking into. They're 2.5 games back in the wild card because the American League is so bad. But I think if you're the Phillies, you've got to find a way to get a Joe Ryan, or you've got to find a way to, you know, hope that Seattle falls out of it and you can go and get a Luis Castillo. You hope that the Angels wake up from this, you know, ridiculous brain fog they're in, and you're like, all right, what's it going to take to go and get a Reed Detmers? You know, Luis Castillo would be awesome, I think. I know he hasn't had the best season this year, but I think he's a piece that you could go and get and feel pretty okay about as a 4th starter. You look at a team like Cincinnati, who's really in the doldrums. You look at a team like Colorado, San Francisco. I mean, Robbie Ray is definitely a player that you got to look at as well. Cincinnati's probably not going to trade any of their starters, which is a bummer. And, you know, some of the guys that they would trade, I'd rather stay away from, like a Brady Singer or something like that. I don't know if Kyle Freeland is going to be available. He hasn't been great this year, and I don't know if I would want to touch him with how bad he's been. Antonio Senzatella is interesting. I think he's going to command a market. I would not mind Antonio Senzatella. I think he would be awesome for the Phillies. But Robbie Ray, I think, is the guy that I have my sights set on as, like, if it's not Joe Ryan, you got to go get Robbie Ray. You look at what Robbie Ray has done this year, and if you can pair Robbie Ray and Helio Ramos together, I think that's a slam dunk move there for Dave Dombrowski and company. Robbie Ray this year, 7-6 with a 3.39 ERA in 16 games started, just under 100 innings pitched, 82 strikeouts. You plug Robbie Ray in as a 4th starter behind Sanchez, Wheeler, and Luzardo, I feel a whole hell of a lot better about the makeup of this rotation. I know he's a lefty, but you had 3 lefties in the rotation last year with Ranger Suarez here. So that's a move that I'm very keen on, is a Robbie Ray, Helio Ramos package to get you the bat and the pitcher all in one. I don't know what that would cost. I don't know what Buster Posey is thinking with the rework of that roster. But when you look at where the Phillies are right now, as they sit at 47-38 after that first game, but they're 49-38 now, and as we're recording this, they are playing actively, and it's 1-0 Phils because Bryce Harper doubled deep to left field. Kyle Schwarber to third. Rafael Marchand scored. You love to see that. I really want the Phillies to take advantage of this window and not tiptoe around the possibility of really making a run here. The National League is loaded for sure. You obviously have the Dodgers, you have the Brewers, the Cubs are still very much in the mix, the Braves, the Phillies, the Marlins are still alive. You look at the wild card standings for the National League. It's Dodgers, Brewers, Braves, Cubs, Phillies, Cardinals, Marlins on the outside looking in just from a win percentage standpoint. The Nationals are somehow still alive in this mix. The Padres are alive in the wild card. The Diamondbacks, Pirates, they're alive in the wild card. I think the Reds, Giants, Mets, and Rockies are kind of dead. The Reds are, what is that? 7 games under 500. They're 6 back in the wild card, but they're so far back in their own division, behind the Pirates, behind the Cardinals, behind the Cubs, and obviously the Brewers. I don't see a path for them going anywhere, so they're a team that I think will be sellers. The Phillies are 2.5 games back in the division. It would be awesome if they could find their way into, obviously the division lead at some point here before the All-Star break, but you look at where you're standing right now, you'd play the Cardinals. You'd play the Cardinals in the you'd play the Cubs, excuse me. That's how it works. It's the lowest division winner against the lowest wild card, and then it would be Phillies Cubs, which you kind of want to get out of that situation a little bit. So if you win the division, you're in the division lead, you're playing against the Cardinals. We all know how that worked out the last time that happened. I don't know. It's going to be such a fascinating MLB trade deadline when it all gets here, because not only are the Phillies looking for pieces, but right now, Trey Turner has turned things on as of late. 3 home runs in 3 games, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to look at his past couple of games here. Trey Turner, in his last 7 games, 3 home runs, 9 runs scored, 9 hits, 8 RBI, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, 1 stolen base, a 310, 333, 690 slash for average on base and slugging. He's really coming out of this slump that he's been in his past, week and a half, 2 weeks or so. In the past 15 games, he's hitting 339, an on-base percentage of 369. He's walked twice. That's the big thing with Trey Turner. I think I've said it before on this show, or I've talking to people about it. If he just doesn't go up there hacking away and he gets on base by walking, he becomes a much more valuable player because he can steal bases. Trey's got 21 hits in his last 15 games, 3 of those being those home runs. If Trey Turner's going to, figure some things out here, he's got his batting average up to 238. He's got to get that on-base percentage way up. It's only at 286. But if he's starting to turn a corner, that's a huge just addition to this Phillies roster, because Trey Turner has given you absolutely nothing so far this year. So that's definitely a huge thing to look at as Trey is now, starting to seem to be turning a corner. But you just got to hope that it sticks and it's a long-term thing, so that the top of the lineup's that much more potent. Trey's on base. Kyle Schwarber comes up to bat. A 2-run home run is a lot more valuable than a 1-run home run. So that's something to monitor. The trade deadline's going to be fascinating. I can't wait. What day is the deadline? August 3rd is a Monday. I might have to take off of my day job just to be live on YouTube and all of the streaming platforms for the trade deadline. that may have to be arranged, because that's going to be an insane day in Major League Baseball. That trade deadline is going to be beyond wild, and I can't wait to see who goes where, what they go for, and what the Phillies do to make this team better, because they need to make 3 moves. They need the starting pitcher, they need the right-handed power bat, and they need a bullpen piece, because Chase Sugar is not it. Chase Sugar was not it. As much as I thought, hey, maybe this is a cheeky signing for the Phillies there, it's just not it. Luckily, the Phillies bounced back. Christopher Sanchez, 7 innings, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks, and 3 hits. Bolin comes in, works out of a little bit of trouble, and then Lou Trevino came in to make his season debut. Trey Turner hit one of those home runs in that game on Tuesday where the Phillies won 8-0. Kyle Schwarber went 2 for 5. Bomer went 1 for 4. Stotty with a 2-hit day and a walk. He's really started to come into his own, too. He's up to 244 on the average. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Stott lately. And then on Wednesday night, a 10-6 win that was kind of back and forth. The heat there. Zach Wheeler, not happy for getting pulled, not finishing 5. He went 4 2/3. I mean, he had a high pitch count, so I can't blame Don Mattingly there. Kyle Backus cleaned things up. Wheeler gave up 4 earned runs in his outing he was charged with. Seth Johnson, 2 earned runs. Ryan Kerkering, an inning and 2/3 of very solid work, and then Duran comes in to slam the door shut. Trey Turner, 3 RBI, 2 for 5 in this one, hit a home run. Brandon Marsh with a home run. Alec Boehm with a home run. That was a big-time insurance run. 2 for 5 day for Stotty. Rincones Jr., a 2 for 3 day with a walk of his own. Justin Crawford with a clutch hit, scored a run as well. Bryce Harper went 1 for 4 with 2 RBI and a walk. The Phillies are playing damn good team baseball right now, guys. I've been saying it a ton the past couple of episodes. They have been playing awesome, awesome baseball. And it's so fun to watch. And, like I said, they in this stretch of 13 games before the All-Star break, 10-3 was my benchmark. They're 2-1 right now, hopefully on their way to a 3-1 finish against the Pirates in a 4-game set. Should be able to sweep Kansas City and Cincinnati, and quite frankly, sweep Detroit as well. You lose one of these games in the next 13, you go 12-1, you're feeling really fucking good about where this team is sitting getting into the All-Star break, sitting 2.5 games back of the Braves, who unfortunately won against the Cardinals on Wednesday. They finished things up against St. Louis at 7:15 on Thursday night, so the Phillies will be done playing by the time we know what happens in Atlanta, before Atlanta hosts the Mets for 4, and then the Braves go to Pittsburgh, and then they go to St. Louis to close out the first half. I mean, it's a very possible thing that the Phillies and Braves are in lockstep going into the All-Star break. I would love to see it. It would be incredible cinema. And I think the Phillies are just hitting their stride at a really, really good time in the schedule to make sure it's all systems go. And I really like what I'm seeing from the Phillies right now. Let me know how you're feeling about the Phils and where things sit. Who are some of your trade deadline targets? Leave me a voicemail. Speakpipe.com/undergroundsportsphiladelphia. That voicemail line is open 24/7, 365. You can leave a voicemail any time of day, pregame, during a game, postgame. I want all the reactions. I love reacting to your guys' voicemails. So when you leave them, I'll react. They'll be on the show. Speakpipe.com/undergroundsportsphiladelphia. The link is in the description to leave that voicemail as well. And our Phillies talk there, brought to you by our friends over at FOCO. Guys, FOCO are the leaders, okay, in the fan apparel game. You know the ever so famous overalls. You know about those overalls, okay? FOCO, they got the shortalls as well. And let me tell you, this weather that we're experiencing right now is full-blown shorts all's weather. Okay? You got to rep the Phils in the best way possible. And that is with our friends at FOCO. They are going to make sure you are decked out to the nines, whether it be, in some perfect just apparel. They've got the incredible bobblehead collections as well. They've got accessories to rock at the ballpark. Just the best in the game. I'm always on FOCO's website. They've got these incredible Kelly green pinstripe overalls that I have had my eye on for quite some time that I definitely need to get because they're impeccable. But the short talls, the historic print short talls are my favorite. They've got the paint splatter ones. They got the powder blues, the red pinstripes. They've got them in overall style as well, so you can rock them when it gets a little cooler out or when you got weather that we're dealing with right now. They got the bathing suits, board shorts. They've got everything you could possibly want to rep the fight in Phils. Use our link in the description to shop with FOCO. That way they know you are coming from us, and just make sure you're staying up to date with FOCO. They've got pre-orders all the time. You can stay in the know with FOCO and sign up for their newsletter, and you get 10% off your order when you sign up for text messages with FOCO. Sign up and save with FOCO. Use our link in the description to shop with them, and we thank FOCO for being a proud partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. I think without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we've got an awesome conversation here on Underground Sports Philadelphia this week for Waterdogs Weekly. Big thank you to Nick Oxnam for making this week's edition happen. And as always, thank you to Grace Hamilton as well for making this series come to life this year and hopefully for many, many years to come. But we've got the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, CJ Kirst, who by many, including friend of the program, Bill Tierney, regarded as the best lacrosse player on the planet, joins us for Waterdogs Weekly this week. An incredible conversation. Got a lot of awesome insight and nuggets from CJ. The intricacies of how he, in my opinion, became the face of Nike lacrosse after Nike lacrosse was dormant for quite some time. The lore behind his number 15 that he wears, the thought of playing for Philadelphia, and just being able to be around this team with Michael Sowers and Kieran McCardle and his Cornell pals of Gavin Adler and Brendan Staub, and just so much fun insight from CJ Kirst. And it is all brought to you by our PLL app code here at Underground Industries. The PLL app is your one-stop shop for keeping up to date with everything in the Premier Lacrosse League, the Women's Lacrosse League, and of course, your Philadelphia Waterdogs. You get articles from Michael Bolger, the Philadelphia Waterdogs beat writer. You get PLL Fantasy in the app, and it's a gamified app. Every day you log in, there's going to be a new task to complete where you earn experience points on your account. When you level up in the app, it unlocks new perks like PLL shop discounts, ESPN Plus subscriptions, and discounted ticket prices, which you got to get those tickets for Waterdogs Homecoming Weekend happening in mid-August. It's going down at Subaru Park, August 15th and 16th. You got to come out and support not only the Waterdogs, but the OTB boys. Your boy KB and Deej, we're doing a live show at Subaru Park, Waterdogs Homecoming Weekend, an annual PLL tradition that we have that we are so thankful for. And if you want discounted tickets, download the PLL app, start racking up those experience points, level up in the app, and when you type in the redeem code section, OTBPOD, that's OTB Pod, you get 500 XP on your account just for typing in our code. So use code OTBPOD in the redeem code section when you download the PLL app in the App Store, Google Play Store, and keep up to date with everything going on all year round in the PLL, the WLL, and of course, your Philadelphia Waterdogs in the PLL app. And I think without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to kick it to our awesome, awesome conversation with your Philadelphia Waterdogs star attackman and 2025 PLL draft #1 overall pick, CJ Kirst, right here on Underground Sports Philadelphia for Waterdogs Weekly. All right, everybody, we now welcome on a very, very, very special guest. It is the one, the only CJ Kirst, your 2025 first overall pick in the Premier Lacrosse League draft, and Attackman for your Philadelphia Waterdogs, who is headed to the All-Star game this coming weekend in Annapolis, Maryland. CJ, it is a pleasure and honor to finally have you on the show, man. And I know we've had the formal press conference talks, but it's fun to finally just chop it up and talk ball and just talk life with you on the show, man.
Yeah, no, thanks. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. And yeah, excited to talk some ball and talk some Waterdogs. So
I don't know if you know this or not yet, but as I was preparing to have you on the show, you've played in 3 games this year, obviously coming off of an NLL championship, so congratulations on that as well. But you've already surpassed your point and goal total from your rookie season, and I know you only played in 4 games last year due to the injury, but did you know that you've already surpassed those milestones already in just 3 games?
no, I actually didn't. Funny enough, one of my roommates was brought it up to me. I guess regarding this season compared to last year. So I know I missed out a lot last year, but no, that's pretty cool to hear with the start we've been having. Hopefully, can keep going with some of that. So excited for the future.
What has it been like this season in particular? Obviously, you know, you coming in from your indoor season and then kind of just getting your outdoor legs under you, and then obviously having the influx of talent from, you know, the rookies coming in last week with Matt Collison and Silas Richmond. You have Josh Yago, Kyle Lewis, you have Brennan Staub coming in. Just seeing just like the dearth of talent that you guys have across the board. How fun has it been getting to know some of these guys and just seeing how they fit into this puzzle that you guys are trying to put together that will hopefully ultimately culminate in a championship for you?
It's been a great couple weeks. I think stepping foot back into the locker room has been the most exciting part. You know, being a part of it last year, but you know, being hurt initially and just trying to kind of, you know, get to know everyone and make those strong relationships, and you know, and then eventually getting on the field. You know, everything was just so new to me, and you know, the game is pretty different from what you're used to in college. So you know, you're just trying to, you know, get your feet underneath you and, you know, take it week by week. But, you know, kind of coming in for year 2, even though, you know, I still haven't played every single team in the PLL. It's still something, you know, I just show up every weekend just so excited. And then now having some of the new talent step in, you know, having the opportunity to spend some time with new guys in the locker room and in the hotels and on the field. And, you know, it's just been an exciting couple weeks. And, you know, being back with guys like Michael Sowers, Kieran McCardle, you know, Jack Hanna on the offensive end, you know, it's been, you know, great spinning the ball with them again and, you know, talking lacrosse and then having some Cornell guys like Gavin Adler and Brendan Staub has made these past couple weeks, you know, a little extra special, having the boys back together. So, yeah, hopefully, you know, these next couple of weeks we can string some wins together and keep the momentum going.
Let me pick your brain about the Gavin Adler, you know, signing and free agency. I've asked everybody that's come on the show so far this season about it because it did feel like that monumental PLL free agency move where we had never seen a player of Gavin's like stature coming off of a championship, coming off of winning Defensive Player of the Year, not only switch teams, but switch teams in conference to a conference rival. And Gavin has said a big part of him choosing Philadelphia was the fact that he'd get to play with you again. What was your initial reaction or kind of your involvement in the process of, hey, if he's available, let's go get him? And when you see the news break or you get information like, hey, Gavin's coming to Philly, what was your initial reaction knowing one of your best friends from college was now going to be one of your teammates and you guys were reunited again in the pros?
I was fired up for Gavin. I know being, I guess, a couple years younger than him, you know, I was in college with him and got to go against him every single day and got to look up to him. And he's probably one of the fiercest competitors I've ever been around. And, you know, to see what he was able to do in the pros right away, you know, he's just such an impactful player and such an impactful player in this league, especially because he shows up every weekend and can not only lock up every player's best guy, but he just makes everyone around him, you know, a little bit better by of pushing guys to play their absolute best. And that was something I got a little taste of in college. And when I heard that we could have the opportunity to play together in the pros, I was so excited. And, I know that process, took some time for him to process everything and really, think about the situation that, he was making a change for. I know he thought about every single person throughout that situation. And, I couldn't be happier to be now wearing the same color as him and not have to go against him. So, and I think every single guy in our locker room would say the same about how excited they are to have him in our locker room and to have him a part of the team and be in this culture. I was fired up for him, and it's been great to travel with him and spend more time with him.
You obviously also have a relationship with Brendan Staub, who was the one defenseman taken for you guys in this year's draft. Talk to me about Brendan and just what makes him the type of player he is, because obviously I think when it comes to any sport, a lot of people tend to, side with and gravitate towards the offensive players. They're the ones making the splashes. They're making the fun plays, the highlight reels, the Sports Center moments. What makes Brendan so special, and what do you think has made it pretty easy and smooth for him to transition from Cornell into the PLL with the style of his gameplay?
Brendan can do it all. I think when he came into college, he was probably one of the more highly recruited defenders in his class, and we ended up putting him at LSM to start, even though I was going against him in practice, and I thought he was one of the best defenders on our team. But our defensive coach at the time, Jordan Stevens, knew that he can make an impact on all facets of the game, and I think that's what he's been able to show right as he stepped foot into this league, is that he can guard the ball really well and then throw a couple takeaway checks and pick up ground balls whenever the ball is available in front of him, and then I think the most impactful part of his game is in transition. He's able to push the ball up the field, make the right reads, and he's got an incredible stick where he can shoot the ball from deep and push it or make great passes. And I think he takes a lot of pride in that as well, knowing that he can really make an impact in the middle of the field. And, you see what he's been able to do on the wings as well, helping our face-off unit. And he's just had a great couple of weeks. And, I know he's been working really hard to keep his game at his at top level, because, coming out of college, he knows the kind of the leverage that he has coming off of playing a whole season. So, he's been doing a great job for us so far, and looking forward to seeing his success in the future.
Coach T brought it up to me when he came on the show a couple of weeks ago, and then he brought it up in the post-game press conference for you guys as well, when you, Brendan, and Kyle Lewis went out, on a Wednesday and got some reps in and worked together. How have you kind of viewed, obviously still being a young guy in the league, but, kind of this leadership role that you're taking on to be like, hey, if we want to be that championship caliber team, we've got to do those little things, and taking in some of these rookies under your wing and kind of teaching them the ropes of like, hey, I didn't get a full rookie season. Like, let's make sure you take advantage of your rookie season that you're going to get a full-fledged, go at. What's kind of been that process like for you to kind of take on this miniature leadership role in year two for you?
That's a great question. I think leadership role hasn't really been something, I've been trying to think about too much, just knowing that I'm still super, super young and kind of new to the league. So just to have the opportunity to get together with some of the guys who, are local, to myself, who live within an hour, and get reps has always been something I've thought about. And, to have guys like myself, Gavin Adler, Kyle, Brendan, Kenny Brower, who were able to go to a field and, and do some pretty intense workouts together. We just know that that's what it takes to be able to play at your best throughout this season. When you're not practicing every day as a team, you got to find that time to put it in together. And I think it's really helped also just having lacrosse lax rats, lacrosse junkies, who are just excited to get that time on the field together. Kyle Lewis loves going out and shooting and getting reps, and whenever he wants to text and figure out that time, I'm more than happy to try to go and figure that out. And and then when it comes to on the field stuff during the weekends, the chemistry is hopefully growing, and and it's great playing with him, and then even on the defensive end, having the opportunity to go against some of the best defenders in the league, like Gavin Adler and Kenny Brower. It definitely gives you some confidence heading into the weekends.
This is a patented Joe Keegan stat here for you. Passer-shooter combos to connect for 4+ goals this season. You and Michael Sowers are on that list. What makes the connection that you and Michael have so special, and what do you enjoy the most about being on the field with Michael, and what's something you enjoy the most about off the field with Michael Sowers?
I think on the field with Michael, he knows how to make an impact, in the game. And I think having him, I guess, be, one of the older guys in our offensive end now, which is pretty crazy to think about, even though I kind of joke about him, joke about that to him every weekend. He's always trying to put the guys, whether it's the rookies in the midfield or myself and Kieran, trying to put us in impactful positions. And all credit to Coach Sheridan, who talks to us throughout the week to come up with a game plan about that. But I know Michael is, has a huge impact whenever he has the ball in his stick, when he has the ball not in his stick. So, he's trying to do what it takes to make an impact every single second out there. And, I've kind of idolized that and even seeing that in practice when I first stepped into the league, with just some of the communication and little side combos that I have with them. So, I really enjoy, doing that on the field with them. And then, I guess off the field, just the lightheartedness that we both have with each other. He's definitely one of the smarter guys in our team and loves messing around as well. So I always take his lead when it comes to that. And, he's Big Mike to me. So try to follow his footsteps as much as I can.
I'm going to list off some players here to you, and you're on this list, and I just want to kind of get your thoughts on this and kind of just see how, I guess, for lack of a better term, how crazy it is that, you're amongst these players. Kevin Crowley, Lyle Thompson, Jeff Teat, Brennan O'Neill, CJ Kirst. You are the 5 players that in the history of pro lacrosse were drafted number 1 overall in the MLL or PLL, as well as the NLL. How crazy is it to have your name next to those 4 guys? And obviously with Jeff and Brennan still, competing against them week in and week out, how cool is it to know that the 3 of you are, in this era of professional lacrosse and you're competing at the highest level and you get to kind of go to battle against each other every week and, kind of have your name amongst, some of the best to ever do it in that regard of like, hey, we were the number 1 overall pick for a reason and we did it in both professional leagues.
It's pretty special. I know, being a fan for so long in both leagues, it's a dream come true. And, to even have the opportunity to continue to play, in both leagues and, to have the opportunity to suit up every weekend and be a part of 2 different locker rooms, it truly is a special feeling. And I'm so lucky to be in those locker rooms with so many special players and so many special individuals that, push me week in and week out, to, bring my best. And, it definitely is a pretty special list and pretty special, players that you just named off that, have accomplished so many great things, and I'm just lucky to be a part of that. And hopefully there's still a lot more lacrosse to be played in my career. And hopefully, a lot more accomplishments that are still yet out there that I hope to achieve. So, no, but that's still pretty crazy to think about.
How crazy is it that, you get drafted to Philadelphia, your 2 brothers that are in the league right now, both play for Boston, and it's quite easily the biggest rivalry in the PLL. Whenever Philly and Boston do battle, it gets a little chippy, it gets a little physical. How fun is it, not only do you have the Philly-Boston rivalry connection, but you get the sibling rivalry added on top of it. And, you get to go and try to score on Colin and you got to go up against Connor out there as well. But that layer of it, how interesting is it, with game week when the Cannons roll up on the schedule? And what is that dynamic like between you guys when it is game week?
It's different. I know when I've was going to play the Cannons for the first time, I realized having the conversations with guys in our locker room, how this is a different game. It's in conference play and it's against guys that have competed against each other for a while, and how the intensity level definitely raises. And to have that relationship with two guys on the other team, who happen to be my best friends and my brothers who I've trained with my entire life, it definitely makes the game a little more intense. And we tend to text and call it and FaceTime throughout the season, and get together for dinners and whatnot. But that week we definitely turn it on a little bit more, and try to do whatever it takes to win. And that's. All credit to my brothers Connor and Colin for teaching me how to go about this league, and and to go about playing professional lacrosse, and to have the opportunity to play against them. I know it's special for my family, just knowing how hard everyone has worked to get to that moment, and to have my brothers and my mom in the stands and other family members there for those games. It definitely makes it super special, and I'm just fortunate enough to have that opportunity to play against them, and to get a picture with them afterwards as well is always a great feeling, whether it's win or lose. You give them a hug and say you love them, and it's I'm just so fortunate to have that opportunity throughout the summer to play against them, and hopefully we see them in the playoffs as well. So we'll see.
And it's a couple years away, but are you already trying to campaign, to potentially get Caden onto the Waterdogs at some point, so that way you have another Kirst in the fold and you guys can go 2v2?
Of course, I know he would look good in purple.
Absolutely. And what was the reaction for all of you guys when your mom's got the split jersey for the first time, and kind of surprised you guys out there, and she's going viral for rocking the Donna Kelsey tribute split Kirst jersey. You see mom going viral on the internet for it. How fun was that for you guys to kind of see her get some of the spotlight?
Yeah, it was hilarious. I know I didn't see it coming. That's for sure. And before the game, having to do an on-field interview, and to see her running on the field, it was pretty funny. And I know Connor and Colin were laughing behind me, just knowing that she had that split jersey hidden, I guess, from us. So no, it was pretty funny, and pretty special as well, just having that moment with her on the field before playing against my brother. So yeah, pretty crazy.
Talk to me about mom, because she's obviously your day one supporter, and just always in your corner, always finding a way to make it out to games as much as she can. And to have the mom that you have, and having three of you guys, and obviously Cole also playing professionally, you have Caden in college, to have a mom like that who can hold it down for the five of you the way that she does. How special is mom?
Oh, she's the best, and I think one thing she's taught all of us is toughness, and she's been through it all to come watch us play every single weekend throughout all of our careers, and to have her be in the stands, it just means a little bit more. And I know all my brothers would say the amount of hours she's put on, or put in the car, just to come drive to one of our college games, and and then now playing professionally, to try to make the effort every single weekend to either get on a plane, or drive hours on hours to come watch us play. Lacrosse has given us a special bond, as a family, and I know without some of the sacrifices she made, none of us would be in the position that we are today. And, we're so thankful for everything that she's done. And she truly, truly is the best. And I love her so much.
I was pretty pumped when I saw the announcement that you were becoming a Nike athlete, because for the longest time it felt like Nike lacrosse was kind of dormant, and there wasn't really a lot of stuff coming from Nike's lacrosse branch. And then they make the big announcement, and you're kind of this new face of a Nike branch. Growing up watching professional sports, how crazy is it to you that Nike selected you as a guy they wanted to get behind, and make you kind of the face of this new wave of Nike lacrosse? And to know that, you're part of the Nike family with so many athletes. How awesome is that for you? And just kind of, how did that all come to be? How did you kind of get connected with Nike in the first place?
It's incredible. I think going to Cornell and wearing Nike and using Nike equipment for my career, and obviously growing up as a huge fan of some of the products they've made. I wanted to continue that that connection that I had with playing with that equipment, and stepping into the PLL after school. I was able to have a couple conversations and was lucky enough to have the opportunity in front of me to pursue that Nike sponsorship, and and be a part of Nike Lacrosse. And I knew I had to take advantage of that opportunity and run with it. And to have the support of the PLL, now supporting us with supporting the players with the Nike uniform and Nike apparel and all the equipment that we could use. It's the best in the game. And I know my stick wouldn't be the same without the Nike sponsorship and being able to have the same pattern that I used in college. So I know that's a huge part of the mental side of playing lacrosse. And I'm super fortunate to be able to wear the Nike swoosh on our uniforms every weekend, and to represent them. And super fortunate for all the people that put in the effort to help me get there. So yeah.
Now, I know you're a North Jersey guy. I'm a South Jersey guy, but I think one common thing we can come together on is New Jersey's got a ton of talented athletes. And, I think it's an overlooked state in a lot of ways for sports. But what do you think makes New Jersey so special when it comes to lacrosse?
That's a great question. I think New Jersey lacrosse has been such a tight-knit community for such a long time. Even when I was growing up, I knew some of the players in my class, from all over the state, and that kind of was credit to my older brothers as well for being such lax rats and having great relationships with all their friends and all the players in the state. But I think that tight-knit community is what drives that competitiveness throughout the state. When it comes to high school lacrosse, for competing for one state champion in the TOC, and now what's called the Kirst Cup, I think that drives everyone's competitive levels through the roof. And then when you kind of get to the club level at during the summers, similar to my first point, you're familiar with all the faces in New Jersey, and you're rooting for each other just as much as you're competing with one another. But and you figure out a different way to play, on a toughness scale, and you're competing with some of the best players, in the world. And now just to see the representation of New Jersey in college, with Sean Light winning the Tewaaraton this year, and then seeing it in the pros with Matt Campbell being one of the best midfielders in the world, and then Colin and Connor as well, Ethan Rawl, who now is coaching New Jersey lacrosse, and seeing the impact that some of these other PLL players, even though he's a Long Island guy, but seeing some of these PLL guys now like Brad Smith, Christian Cuccinello, who are going back and coaching in New Jersey. There's you see the level that, people are kind of thinking that these New Jersey players are a little bit different. So, it's great to see, and hopefully you could see those guys excel, as they continue from high school and playing New Jersey to the college and professional levels.
Yeah, on top of that, you got your former teammate Christian Scarpello winning state championships against the private schools.
I can't name drop him. He beat the Del Barton in a county championship. So no.
And I think it is a fascinating thing when you look back at your draft night, and it was pretty consensus you were going to be the number one pick. Bill Tierney was keeping that pick close to his chest. I've talked to Brian Holman a ton, and he joked that he was willing to fork over the Holman family fortune to try to get that pick to bring you in with your brothers. But when you see that you're going to Philadelphia and the PLL now has these home markets when you're getting drafted, what was your reaction knowing you were going to a market where the sports fans are rabid, but no matter what, win, lose, or draw, at the end of the day, they're still going to be behind you. They're still going to support you, and they want to see you and this team succeed to the highest level and will do whatever it takes to make sure they're kind of that extra man out on the field for you.
No, it's a special feeling knowing the support that the Philadelphia Waterdogs have. With having a Philly guy like Michael Sowers, who has been a part of the organization, and then having the support from the people and from the heart of Philly. I'm getting messages all the time from kids and who live in Philadelphia who support the Philadelphia Waterdogs, and it truly is a dream of theirs to wear the purple. And that's a pretty special feeling knowing that you have that kind of impact, and we're hoping to represent Philly and keep this Philadelphia Waterdogs toughness and grit kind of lacrosse style continuing. We still have a lot of goals we hope to achieve as an organization, and we're looking forward to what's ahead.
Now, obviously, you went from the big red at Cornell, and then you get drafted. You're rocking that purple. What was kind of the first reaction to seeing the purple in person, and what do you like about wearing what I feel is such a unique color in sports? There's not many teams that get the opportunity to wear a purple jersey. How much do you like the purple now that it's kind of been accustomed to you for the past couple of years now?
No, I love it. I think it's different than what I'm used to. But I think that's also a special thought, is just knowing that you're at that high level, being able to represent a jersey where people see it and they know. And I think that's something that kind of hits home with me is whenever I'm wearing the Waterdogs logo around, people notice it, and it's definitely a cool feeling as a lacrosse player seeing that. So I'm super fortunate to be able to rock the purple.
You have a pretty solid core on this Waterdogs roster still that won that 2022 championship together, from Michael Sowers to Matt DeLuca, Zach Currier, Connor Kelly. There's a ton of guys still on that roster. Jack Hanna in his rookie season. But then you also have yourself, who has won a collegiate championship. You won an NLL championship this past NLL season. You have guys who have won championships in so many different ways. And on top of that, you have Coach T, who's won a number of collegiate championships as a coach. How valuable do you think it is to have a locker room where, from so many different walks of life, you have championship experience and you have kind of this core on this roster that knows what it takes to not only win a championship, but win a PLL championship?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is just learning that the depth of leadership is where you really find your success, when there's voices who care about every single detail of what goes into the game and the weekend as a whole, and practice that we have the day before. I think that's where the focus really comes and shows out when you're playing for those 48 minutes. And I think just having that mentality of knowing that our preparation throughout the week of scout and film, and then going into practice and repping everything, and then hopefully taking care of business on game day, how everything adds up, and having the right mentality of showing up with that championship effort for whether that's stretch lines to line drills, to 66 reps in practice, how it all has an impact. And credit to the leaders that we have on our team, like Matt DeLuca, Zach Currier, and Kieran, who show up and make sure that we never forget that. So all credit to those guys for setting the tone week in and week out, for pushing us to show up and play our best.
Talk to me about what you've learned from Kieran McArdle, because he is kind of, I joke with him, he's the elder statesman of this group. He's an original Waterdog, came in through, the expansion draft, but it's always felt like he was meant to be on this roster and meant to be the captain of this team, and has kind of really, been that steady flow for you guys, before you got there and since you've been here. What's it like having a leader the caliber that Kieran McArdle is, and how valuable is he in that locker room, more so than he even is on the field? And on the field, he's one of the best to ever do it. But how valuable is it to have a guy like that in the locker room? Win, lose, or draw, he's going to make sure you guys are kind of even keel. You don't get too high, you don't get too low, no matter what the result is.
Yeah, Kieran's an incredible leader, and just finds his voice is something that we all gravitate towards, because he always has the team's thought, at first thought in his head, and he's always showing up with saying the right things and trying to push us to always do the right things. And he truly leads by example in that regard. And for being a lefty attackman, I've looked up to him and I've watched him play for such a long time. And for being able to pick his brain on the offensive end, I think he's one of the best players to ever pick up a stick, and obviously one of the best scorers to ever be on the field. And be able to talk with him, and now that we're playing on the same side, trying to find ways to put each other in the right spots to score goals or set each other up, it's pretty special. And being able to also have him just a phone call away as a friend is, I think, the most impactful thing that Kieran has had on our locker room as a whole. He truly has a relationship with every single guy and every single member of our staff, and it's incredible to follow that lead and see that he's always doing the right stuff, week in and week out. And back in Charlotte, seeing his daughters run around on the field afterwards and in a Waterdogs cheerleader uniform, as a younger guy, it just means more to him. And every single weekend he's playing for something so much bigger than himself, and you want to follow that leadership. So I'm super fortunate to be able to play with him and put the jersey on next to him as well.
When you see the news comes across during, training camp that took place in Philly, that a new coaching position was going to be added to each roster, and that the Philadelphia Waterdogs were bringing Eric Law onto the coaching staff, fresh off of, retirement from his PLL and MLL career, what has it been like to be able to just at your disposal have the most accurate shooter of all time, just a phone call away, a Zoom call away, to just pick his brain on the PLL game? And how valuable is it? Obviously Coach T has coached, so well at the collegiate level. He's, coaching really well at the professional level. You have Coach Sheridan, you have Coach Lou, but to have a coach who's played the PLL game, I think, is so valuable. What's it been like, just getting to know Eric Law on a, player to coach and person to person level, and to have somebody like that, at your disposal to kind of just teach you things that, are nuanced things that you may not have noticed, but he's been around the game for so long that it's like, oh, he's going to recognize that and he's going to make me a better player.
Yeah, Eric's been super impactful. And I think from an attackman perspective, I think he's had such a strong influence on some of the scouting reports and the ways that we've gone about, going into the weekends. And, he has the right mentality for our unit. And, he's trying to come up with certain scouting reports on certain individuals that, put us, in positions in transition, in 6v6 and the 2-man game, that help us capitalize. And, I that's something I never really thought of heading into playing in the PLL is how the scouting reports are different, because you're not playing the same clock that you did in college. You don't have the same possession time. So, you have to take advantage of these little windows. And, Eric Law was the best player to ever do that, in his professional career. So being able to listen to him on Zoom calls, about, the scout and how we should, approach playing the certain facets of the game, has truly helped me individually. And I think Kieran and Mike would say the same as a unit. And I think Coach T has set the tone as well, just that we put the trust in Coach Law, and that what he says, truly will help us in the long run. So, he's been super impactful, and I've been super fortunate enough to be on a call with him, and he's one of the best players to ever pick up a stick. So, also pretty cool to think about that when you're speaking with him.
You're headed to Annapolis for the All-Star game this coming weekend, but you're also competing in the accuracy challenge against Marcus Holman, against Chris Kavanaugh, and against Joey Spallina. What went into the decision process to compete in one of the skills competitions? How excited are you? And, how pumped are you to, be able to compete in the All-Star game and be a part of that pomp and circumstance and that fanfare, and especially doing it on the East Coast?
Yeah, I think this weekend's going to be a lot of fun. I know, I've talked with my brother Colin, who's done it before, and there's just a lot that goes into the weekend of being something that every single player from every team has that dream of playing the All-Star game, and being able to be selected for that is pretty special. So I'm excited to go and then to be chosen to be a part of the Accuracy Challenge. I know is going to be competitive, but hopefully can have a pretty good showing there. Even though I'm playing against some pretty good and pretty accurate shooters, that's for sure. So we'll see what happens there. But no, also excited to hang out with some players from other teams and have that time to just talk lacrosse and talk about their summers and how everything is truly going for them as individuals and as their seasons going on. So no, it's going to be a special weekend and hopefully a ton of fun.
Obviously, first full season of the WLL is going on right now too, and it's lined up with some of your guys' game weekends. How awesome has it been to kind of be able to take in some of the WLL action and just seeing how ultra competitive the women are and how this version of the women's game has really started to take shape? And how pumped are you going to be when Philadelphia gets that pairing to go alongside the Waterdogs so that you guys have a women's team to root for?
It's incredible to watch, and I think the most important thing is just, and my first takeaway is the fans and how much support they get week in and week out. To only have one game a weekend, but to have the showing that they've had and some of the most competitive games that they've had. It's they are doing a tremendous job, and all credit to those to the players who are showing up and playing their hardest, because I know every person in the stands is noticing that, and it's also been just incredible to watch and see the skill level that they all bring. It's been pretty remarkable, and hopefully Philly can get a team soon.
Tuesday morning, pretty early, some big news breaks, and the PLL gets a massive investment from names that are familiar to the lacrosse world and some new names that are not so familiar when it comes to lacrosse. What was your initial reaction to the news? And I don't know if you're on the same page as me, but I think it would be pretty awesome if, Rob Mack and Ryan Reynolds, took their Wrexham talents and became the owners of the Philadelphia Waterdogs.
Yeah, it was pretty epic to see the support that the league is getting, and there's not much thought from me from the back end part of the league. I'm just fortunate to see that, and to have that support. It really is exciting to see where this league is headed, and I'm excited for the future that that it holds, and hopefully a lot more lacrosse is going to be played. So I can't wait.
When you run out of the tunnel every week and you're on ESPN, once a game kind of ends, is that kind of like a pinch me moment where it's like, I'm playing the sport I grew up loving on a channel that I grew up watching, every morning, whether it be for Sports Center or, whatever show was on? Like, is that kind of like one of those, like, once you kind of decompress from a game and it's kind of just like, holy cow, like I just played on ESPN, and like it's a sport that the non-traditional sports fan gets a chance to take in, and it's something that I've grown up loving since I was a kid, and it's on the biggest stage on the worldwide leader.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to think about, and you definitely try not to think about it before the game. And you made a great point with once you take the gear off and you're looking around. It definitely is a dream come true to be able to do what you love at the highest stage, on the highest level, and having the world to be able to watch, what we do is pretty special. And, to go back in the locker room and, to receive text from family members and past teammates and friends and, people that you haven't spoken to in a while who are able to tune in, it just, makes you think about the dream a little bit more and how just fortunate you are to play the game that you love at the highest level with some of your best friends every single weekend. So, I truly am super lucky to be a part of it. And, also to to be able to do it in the Philadelphia jersey is also pretty special as well. So yeah, I couldn't be happier with what I get to do, every single weekend.
Talk to me about just your relationship with Coach T and, what you've gotten to, kind of pick his brain about as you've gotten to know him over the past 2 years now. And, kind of just having a legendary college coach, but now trying to get that legend status in the pro ranks as well, to have, Coach T also at your disposal and to kind of learn from one of the best coaches to ever coach this sport on a week in and week out basis and a day in and day out basis. How awesome has it been just getting to know him, person to person, and then to have him as your coach? What's it like being coached by Bill Tierney?
I'm so lucky to be able to play for Coach T and to be a part of a locker room that he gets to impact. He's truly seen it all with every single level, and I'm so fortunate to learn not only the X's and O's and kind of his perspective on the game, but on the relationship side of things, just knowing that it runs deeper than just going out there and putting on a helmet and playing. Some of the stories that he's been able to share with me from whether it's stories of my dad back in the day, or some of the old Cornell coaches and alumni that he's been able to cross paths with. He knows that this game really is more than just blowing the whistle and rolling the balls out and playing. You really truly meet some of your best friends and some of the most impactful people, whether you want to believe it or not at the time, in your life. And I'm so fortunate for him to have that perspective and to instill in that in me, and to really push that within our locker room as well. And then on top of it, he is a fierce competitor and wants to do whatever it takes to win. So, he is really pushing every single guy in our locker room to show up and play their best every weekend. And we're fortunate enough to do it for them.
Your guys' homecoming the past 2 years was at Villanova, a phenomenal facility and, kind of, on the main line of Philadelphia. But this year you guys kind of get to cap off the regular season. It's the final, regular season weekend, but you get to do it at Subaru Park. To be able to play two, quote unquote home games at an MLS stadium where there's a ton of history for the Philadelphia Waterdogs, including that championship win in 2022. And to be able to pack out that stadium and to have that size stadium with your fans there rooting for you for 2 games that weekend, how awesome is that going to be? And to know that this organization has the fan base to pack out an MLS stadium for 2 days and watch you guys compete at the highest level. How excited are you, for that August weekend to have, homecoming at a stadium the size of Subaru Park and at a stadium that has so much history for this organization?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be super awesome. And, it should be a lot of purple in the stands, and to have that support, I know is gonna push us for that back-to-back game weekend. So no, I'm super excited to play in front of the Waterdogs fans in Philadelphia, and to have that support, and it's going to be a special weekend for sure.
Who's a teammate on this roster that you didn't have a real prior relationship with, but it kind of in the best way possible surprised you at how well and how quickly you clicked with them?
I think someone who I've only had the opportunity to play with once, but looking forward to the future, and I've obviously been a fan of him for a long time. And we have some of my best friends from school went to high school with him, but I'm excited to continue to play with Matt Collison, another lefty, another guy who loves playing indoor lacrosse. It's definitely it's funny to see that, my best friends from school, were a couple years older than him, and knew him as a younger lacrosse player growing up, and to see his success, it was pretty special to watch. So, no, I'm definitely super excited to continue that relationship, and, continue to suit up with him on the weekends, and hopefully win some more games together.
Talk to me about, I think There's so many athletes that have a number that is synonymous with them. Talk to me about the number 15 and the history behind you wearing that number and where that all started.
Great question. When I was younger, my dad coached at Summit High School in New Jersey, and my brothers and I were huge Summit lacrosse fans. We were the Water Boys. We were running around at practice with our sticks in the corner, and we were wearing the Summit shorts, Summit jerseys, and it was Summit has a special place in our hearts, and my favorite player growing up wore number 15. His name was Sonny Round, and I idolized him. He coached me at my dad's summer camp, and I always thought he was one of the best attackmen ever when I was really young, and I wanted to follow in his footsteps and continue wearing 15, and that's kind of where the number stuck, and I'm fortunate enough to continue to wear that every single weekend, it's definitely a special number to me for sure.
CJ, I've asked everybody that has come on the show so far, which includes Michael Sowers, Matt DeLuca, Coach Cottle, Coach Tierney, Jake Taylor, Kyle Lewis, and Kieran McCardle, who they'd want to see on the show, throughout the season. And a number of them have mentioned you. So we've checked you off the box now, and I'm sure they're going to be thrilled to listen to this episode. But if you had your druthers, who are you throwing the gauntlet to hop on Waterdogs Weekly in the future?
Waterdogs Weekly should definitely have Matt Collison on.
There we go, the Rook. I like it.
Yep.
I like it. CJ, this was a blast. We're going to have to absolutely do this again, my man. You are truly a special, special player, but you're a special, special person, and getting to watch you each and every weekend, whether it be in person or on TV, is an absolute treat. Keep doing your thing. Keep representing Philadelphia. Best of luck at the All-Star game. And I'm sure I'll see you. I'm hoping to get down to the All-Star game. So hopefully I'll see you in Baltimore. And best of luck the rest of the way. And we'll definitely be catching up throughout the season, my man.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it and appreciate the time. And hopefully see you, in person soon at the All-Star game. And if not, another game this summer. So appreciate the time.
Big shout out to CJ Kirst, Nick Oxnam, Grace Hamilton for this week's edition of Waterdogs Weekly here on Underground Sports Philadelphia, being made possible. CJ is the absolute best, and the fact that we now have a out of press conference relationship with CJ Kirst is nothing short of incredible. And I appreciate everything CJ does for growing the game and making it a better place. And I think he's only going to continue this torrid season. And you can catch CJ in the PLL All-Star game this coming weekend. I'll be down in Annapolis, actually, for said All-Star game. I'm very excited. It's my first All-Star game that I'll ever be attending in my life. CJ Kirst, Michael Sowers, and a bunch of the Philadelphia Waterdogs, including Jack Hanna, Connor Farrell, Gavin Adler. They'll be in the PLL All-Star game this Sunday at 2 p.m. on ESPN, and CJ Kirst also taking part in that skills competition, the accuracy challenge, which will be awesome to watch, and hopefully CJ brings it home for Philly before the Waterdogs get back into game action next Friday, July 10th in Chicago against the California Redwoods on ESPN Plus at 6:30 Eastern Time. So shout out to CJ Kirst for hopping on Waterdogs Weekly this week. And Waterdogs Weekly would not be possible, ladies and gentlemen, if it weren't for our awesome presenting partner, the city of Vineland. And listen up, guys. This is one of my favorite things that happens in my hometown, and I love promoting it. And now that I get to promote it on the show for you guys to come and celebrate and hang out with me in September is going to be awesome. Get ready for one of Vineland's most anticipated events of the year. It's the 9th annual Vineland Food Truck Festival, returning to downtown Vineland on Sunday, September 13th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Enjoy delicious eats from 30 food trucks, shop local craft and merchandise vendors, and experience live entertainment throughout the day featuring the Steely Dan tribute band Kid Charlemagne and direct from Philadelphia DJ Ben Arsenal, plus so much more. Bring your family and friends for a full day of food and music on Landis Avenue. For more information, contact Special Events Coordinator Sheena Santiago at 856-794-4000, extension 4169. Again, that's the 9th annual Vineland Food Truck Festival returning to downtown Vineland on Sunday, September 13th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Bring your family and friends for a full day of food and music on Landis Avenue. And again, for more information, contact Special Events Coordinator Sheena Santiago at 856-794-4000, extension 4169, Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season.
Hello, I'm Mayor Anthony Finucci. Vineland, New Jersey offers both a great business location and an outstanding quality of life. But don't just take my word for it, the experts agree. We're proud to be recognized as a premier food processing and logistics hub, one of New Jersey's most affordable and desirable cities, and one of the best places to retire in the country. Visit vinelandcity.org and see how our resources can work for you. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season.
We got a lot more to talk about here on this show, ladies and gentlemen, because the Philadelphia Flyers have been buzzing in free agency as they have made a number of moves so far to kick off this free agency, including that reported Dan Vladar contract extension coming to fruition. Dan Vladar signing the 5-year contract extension, or 5-year, contract extension with the Philadelphia Flyers. A huge move there. And I think the Flyers have done a great job so far in free agency as they signed Tyson Forster to an 8-year contract. I love this move. I'm a huge Tyson Forster guy. It was evident for a long time during that stretch when Tyson got injured early in the year that they were missing his presence. And I know the playoffs were not as smooth for Tyson Forster, but he is a key piece to this offense, this offensive unit for the Flyers with Trevor Zegras, with the likes of Porter Martone, and having Travis Konechny here still. Like, you need Tyson Forster here, and I'm glad he's here long term. An 8-year deal worth $3.75 million average annual value. That's what's left on his current contract, and then the 8-year extension starting in 2027-2028, it's a $7.1 million average annual value. So $56 million for a guy like Tyson Forster feels like a steal to me. So I love that move big time. The Flyers also signed veteran free agent forward Noel Acciari from the Pittsburgh Penguins on a 2-year deal. And they also signed forward Zach Aston Reed, Danila Kilmovich, and Jack Studnicka, as well as defenseman Cam Dineen. Acciari's going to replace Garnett Hathaway as the 34-year-old veteran center, winger, kind of just do-it-all type offensive player. Last year with the Penguins, had 25 points in 67 games. He played in all 6 games in the playoff series against the Flyers. He's a grind guy, and he's going to be Garnett Hathaway's kind of replacement. And I think it's going to be very funny when he and Trevor Zegras are in the same room together as well, because they were getting into it during the playoffs, which is just hysterical. With the signing of Acciari, Aston Reese, and the 1-year extension for Carl Grundstrom, the Flyers say it's unlikely that they'll re-sign Luke Glendening, which all of this just opens the door for the alleged rumor that dropped on the timeline. And Danny Briere saying, never say never. This is also news here as we're recording this. The Flyers are working on a multi-year contract extension with Jamie Drysdale. Not sure on timing, but should come in the $6 million average annual value neighborhood whenever it gets done. I like that a lot. That is a huge move. But the big news was Claude Giroux. The Claude Giroux of it all. The Ottawa Senators allowed him to hit free agency. They're waiting for his decision amid a potential Flyers reunion. And this comes from Julian McKenzie and Kevin Kurtz from The Athletic. The departure of now former Ottawa Senators captain Brady Tkachuk still stings in Ottawa after he was traded over a week ago. The Senators say they're keeping the door open for pending restricted free agent Claude Giroux to return, as the team has let another aging free agent veterans, namely Lars Eller and Nick Jensen, sign elsewhere. However, Giroux could reunite with the Philadelphia Flyers, the team that drafted him number 22 during the 2006 draft, where Giroux spent 15 seasons playing 1,000 NHL games with the franchise and scoring 291 goals and 900 points. According to Senators GM Steve Staios, the door's been open since the March trade deadline, and the Senators say they've been in a holding pattern waiting on Giroux to decide on his future. I mean, if the Flyers can bring Claude Giroux home, and Danny Briere, a former teammate of Claude Giroux, confirmed that talks have been ongoing when asked specifically about Claude Giroux and fellow free agent John Carlson, who has since been signed, not by the Flyers. Briere said, "We've had some discussions. I can't say much more than that. We've had some discussions. We're looking at everything, but at the moment, there's nothing imminent." One Flyer source told The Athletic on Wednesday afternoon, speaking on the condition of anonymity to discuss private negotiations, that the team expected Giroux to sign a one-year deal to return to the club. It's possible, though, that the Flyers are still hopeful that they'll be able to sign Carlson, which would likely make Giroux unaffordable, which did not happen. So that means Claude Giroux could have a homecoming to come back to Philadelphia, bringing in another center to team up with Trevor Zegras, Christian Dvorak, Noah Coots. Zegras is a restricted free agent who still needs a new contract. It's expected to begin next season in the middle. Per a team source, Giroux played both center and wing with Ottawa. I mean, it's a no-brainer to me. You look at Claude Giroux's stats last season for a pretty, not great Ottawa team. Okay? Claude Giroux last year, in 82 games, 14 goals, 35 assists, 49 points, with a plus 20 on the plus-minus scale. You look at the Flyers last season, okay? You look at the Flyers stats from last season in the regular season, points-wise. It was Travis Konechny, Trevor Zegras, Owen Tippett, Matvei Michkov, Christian Dvorak. Those were your top 5 scorers that had more points than Claude Giroux. Claude Giroux had more points than Noah Cates, Travis Sanheim, Couturier, Jamie Drysdale, obviously Tyson Forster, but you expect that to change with a full season and being healthy. Of the centers, it just makes perfect sense to bring in Claude Giroux. And I'm not saying that simply from a nostalgia standpoint. I'm saying that from just a statistical standpoint. 49 points for Claude Giroux as he sits, at age 38. He's 38 years old. He'll turn 39 in January. So it'll be, a 38 to 39 age season for him. But he's still putting up damn near 50 points. And if you can bring a franchise legend back home, allow him to finish his career here where he should have never left in the first place, and he's still going to bring you valuable minutes, he's going to bring you valuable point production, I think it's a no-brainer. And you look at just the numbers, 49 points in 82 games. That's 0.6 of a point per game. For a guy at age 38, that's pretty fucking good in my opinion. I think you have to do what it takes to bring Claude Giroux back. And you'll have the entire city celebrating with you. I think it's a no-brainer. Claude Giroux, back to the Flyers. I hope it happens, especially now that John Carlson has signed elsewhere. It kind of leaves the door open, and it's like, hey, let's continue building this thing, and let's bring in a franchise icon to be a part of it and teach this iteration of the Flyers. Obviously, you have Coots and TK who have been here long term, but let's teach this group what it means to be a Philadelphia Flyer full blown, because that's what Claude Giroux can do while still being a productive player on the ice for you. So I love the rumor. I hope it's true. Hashtag bring Claude Giroux home. Bring him home. And you know, if the Flyers bring Claude Giroux home, we're celebrating with ice cold Kenwood Original Beer. Kenwood Original Beer, ladies and gentlemen, is the official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's a refreshing light beer, just 3.2% ABV, 120 calories, just 8 grams of carbs. You guys can go to kenwoodbeer.com. Use the Kenny Finder to see who's got Kenwood Original Beer on tap in the Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey areas. You can also find Kenwood Original Beer at your local liquor stores, convenience stores, and grocery stores in those markets. Just use the Kenny Finder to see who's got Kenwood Original Beer available in your area. Again, just 4.1% ABV, 120 calories, 8 grams of carbs. They're the best in the game. Kenwood Original Beer. Shout out to Kenny. And as always, guys, must be 21 or older to consume. And as always, please drink responsibly. Final bit here. It is World Cup Talk. World Cup Talk. Brought to you by our friends over at Bino. Guys, Bino is the next big tabletop game for your man caves, your she sheds, your tailgates, your parties. You break out the Bino board for a World Cup watch party. You are going to have the time of your life. It's paper football meets foosball for the next big tabletop flicking experience. Guys, 4th of July weekend, there's no better place to break out the Bino board than the family barbecue. You'll have the time of your lives out on the patio, out on the deck, hanging out around the pool. Break out the Bino board. You can get your officially licensed World Cup boards. You can get your officially licensed Philadelphia Union boards. Your officially licensed Premier League boards. You can customize your own board as well. You can get the Bino Classic. Get your Bino apparel and merchandise. You can customize your board with custom bands, pieces, balls, goals, the whole 9 yards. You can make it uniquely yours. Use our link in the description. That way Bino knows you're coming from us. Fill up your cart to the gills. Make those orders incredible, okay? You won't regret it. And when you go to checkout, get 10% off your entire order when you use code BinoBennett62. That's BINHOBENNETT62. And you get 10% off your entire order from our friends at Bino. So again, link in the description. Fill up the cart to the gills. At checkout, use code BinoBennett62, BINHOBENNETT62, and you get 10% off your entire order. And we thank Bino for being a proud partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. The World Cup, Team USA advances to the round of 16 for the first time in a long time. And they beat Bosnia-Herzegovina 2-0. Malik Tillman with a beautiful, beautiful penalty kick. Flo Balogun with a beautiful goal in this one in the 45th minute. And Team USA moves on to the round of 16. The unfortunate part of all of this is Flo Balogun catches a red card in this one for what is very clearly incidental contact. I know a lot of people like to try to police sports by posting screenshots and still shots of things happening. That is not how penalties and red cards and everything are assessed. They are assessed in motion. They are assessed in moving video versions, okay? A still shot is not a determinant factor in how something should be assessed. So if you see people tweeting screenshots, tell them that's not how things are done. Flo Balogun, incidental contact where his spikes go into the ankle of one of the Bosnia players. Should have been a yellow card. I'd be fine with that. Okay, you want player safety and everything. Yellow card, fine. To go straight up red card and no like overall review, and it's just deemed red card, Team USA playing down to 10 men for the final 25 minutes of that game against Bosnia and Herzegovina. To now not having, arguably, in my opinion, your best player on the field for your round of 16 match against Belgium is a dagger. And earlier in this World Cup, Lionel Messi, who I'm a Messi fan, had a stepping motion into another player's calf, and nothing was called. Not a yellow card, not a red card, not even a penalty. Nothing was called. And then you come to find out the ref that was, calling the game for Team USA in Bosnia has had a history of being under fire for allegedly fixing matches with unjust red cards. He was doing that in Brazil in 2023. And yet FIFA's allowing this guy to officiate World Cup matches. Make that make sense. So now Team USA's path to successive rounds is a little bit more difficult. And by a little bit, I think a lot more difficult. He's going to miss the Belgium game. He can't appeal the suspension. And it's so brutal. But I love Mauricio Pochettino's quote afterwards and basically saying, why not us? I love the way he's got this team playing, and it just feels like there's a different swagger and a different mojo about this team this go around, where in years past, Team USA, you had the Landon Donovans and the Tim Howards and the Clint Dempseys and stuff, and amazing players. Don't get that twisted. But it never felt like they had a team dynamic with Team USA for a long time. Don't even get me started on the Berhalter era. Pochettino has this team playing really, really well. And I'm intrigued to see how he approaches things without Flo. And who steps up in Florian Balogun's absence. Is it Christian Pulisic? Is it, Gio Reyna? Who is going to be the guy? I'm not saying from a positional standpoint. I'm saying from just a vibes and energy standpoint. Who's going to be the guy that steps up and helps this team move forward, and continue this journey of advancing? Tyler Adams got banged up a little bit. Looked like he's going to be okay. Is he a guy that steps up? Is Weston McKennie a guy that steps up? Is it Malik Tillman again? Is it, somebody like Brendan Aronson that now steps up for Fuller and Balogun? Is it Tim Weah? I mean, we would all love it as Philly and South Jersey people if it is Medford Messi that steps up in Flo's, absence. But it's an indictment on FIFA in this situation. It's so silly that was deemed a red card, and it tarnishes what was a huge accomplishment for Team USA. Who haven't made the round of 16 in quite some time. The last time Team USA won a knockout match, it was more than 20 years ago. They had not advanced out of the knockout stage in more than 20 years. I believe it was 2002. Yeah, 2002. After barely getting out of their group with Portugal, South Korea, and Poland in 2002, they took round of 16 ticket and ran with it as they matched up against Mexico, and that was a wild time. But yeah, the last time that Team USA won a knockout game was 2002 when they beat Mexico in the round of 16. Obviously, the format has changed quite a bit over the years, but they lost in the round of 16 to the Netherlands in 2022. They lost in the round of 16 to Belgium in 2014. Lost to Ghana in the round of 16 in 2010. They lost in the round of 16 in 1994 to Brazil. They lost the round of 16 to Italy in 1934. And they lost in the semifinals to Argentina in 1930. So the only other knockout round win they had was in 2002 against Mexico in the round of 16. And then they lost in the quarterfinals 1-0 to Germany. So now they got Belgium in the round of 16, and it's going to be crazy because the traditional knockout phase previously began with a 16-team round instead of the 32-team opening knockout round introduced for this year's tournament. So it's a little bit of a harder go this time around, and now you're in the round of 16 again, and Belgium is a tougher matchup, obviously. They've got some players that are going to give Team USA some fits. They won in extra time against Senegal. They've got Lukaku. Romelu Lukaku is a dog. They've got Maxim de Super, my Brighton boy. Kevin De Bruyne. Trossard. Like they've got real talent on that side. They've got Onana. Who else is on this team? Yeah, they've got some dogs in Belgium. So the Belgian national team, Team USA, they will match up in Seattle on July 6th, and it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a dogfight. You just got to find a way. And as Pochettino said, why not us? Why not us? But a hell of a win for Team USA to advance to the round of 16. Let's see what the bracket looks like right now. It'll be Canada and Morocco on July 4th. Paraguay and France on July 4th. That one, I believe, is the game in Philadelphia. USA and Belgium on Monday Night Football at 8 Eastern out in Seattle. Brazil and Norway on July 5th. Mexico and England, that's going to be amazing. Sunday Night Football there at 8 p.m. on Sunday. And then the other games to be determined are the winners of Spain and Austria, Portugal and Croatia. And then the winners of Switzerland, Algeria, Colombia and Ghana, Argentina, Cabo Verde, and Australia and Egypt, which are all taking place over the course of the next couple of days, including on Thursday. But this is why we play. The World Cup is just so much fun, man, and congrats to Team USA. Pochettino's the man, and I can't remember why I don't remember what teams he has coached. Chelsea and Tottenham. That's right. He was Tottenham. Coached at PSG, Southampton. He was at Chelsea for a year, and now he's been with the U.S. national team. I like him. I think he is he's the man for the job, and I think he's done a damn good job so far in this World Cup. He's the winningest manager, winningest head coach in Team USA history in World Cup play. 3 wins. It's fucking crazy. It's absolutely nuts. Shout out to the boys. Let's bring it home on Monday Night Football against Belgium and avenge Flo Balogun. That is all I've got for you guys on this one. I know it was a hefty episode, a lot to talk about, and I'm sure more and more is going to continue to come out that we'll talk about on Monday's episode. I'm going to try to work to get some Sixers-esque guests on the show. Got a couple people in mind to talk about this Jaylen Brown trade, even more in depth, the LeBron stuff, and so much more. But you guys make this all possible. So continue following us on the socials at Underground PHI across the board. Subscribe to the pod. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. Subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. Leave a like on the video. Drop a comment in the comment section. And smash that bell icon so you know whenever new videos go live and you don't miss out on a single video from us. Big thank you to Nick Oxnam, Grace Hamilton, and, of course, the astounding specimen and just incredible human being, CJ Kirst, for hopping on Waterdogs Weekly on Underground Sports Philadelphia this week. I'll be down at PLL All-Star on Sunday. Very excited for that, so I'll be able to watch CJ compete in the All-Star game up close and personal and hopefully catch up with him, figure out who our next guest is going to be as the Waterdogs head into Chicago. Hopefully the Phillies keep pushing along and find a way to close out a series win against the Pirates here on Thursday and continue their winning ways. And Jaylen Brown, welcome to Philadelphia, my man. And hopefully Claude Giroux will be a Philadelphia Flyer by the time I talk to you guys again on Monday. But big thank you to Security 21 Security Systems and Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated for their continued support of this podcast. And this has been episode number 860 of Underground Sports Philadelphia, presented by the City of Vineland. I'm your boy KB. Have a safe, happy, healthy holiday weekend. Don't do anything too silly. Don't get too wild. But I will talk to you all on Monday, where we'll talk more Sixers, we'll talk more Phillies, we'll talk more Flyers, we'll talk more World Cup, and whatever the heck else comes across the docket. But thanks for tuning in to another episode of Underground Sports Philadelphia, everybody. I'm your boy KB. For CJ Kirst, we'll catch you all on Monday. But until then, I'm getting the heck up out of here. I'm signing off. Peace.